Inside a Baldwin Syntha-sound. Reverb can, pretty simple stuff there. Lots of caps, transistors, and a few 741s, I think. 1748 CP. What is that? Maybe that's a 748. Power supply and the key movement has just those J-wire-like contacts. I don't know if they are J-wires. I don't think so. Maybe. To the front panel, which I've just gooped the slider assemblies back on. They're glued on. These brackets are glued on with a brittle glue, and eventually they can break. On that one and this one they did. And that's pretty much the insides. Speakers on the sides. Wow, what a strange thing. It does the Hammond on strangeness, I think. In terms of kind of, it's disorganized in a way. The way things are here, we used to have to get used to it. Makes some neat sounds. The vibrato seems awful fast, and there's probably a place to set it inside. Of course, you can always hit standard vibrato, which gives you that, but then you can't change that. That's it. But over here you can change. That's your extent and your rate, and let's see. Now, of course, we've canceled everything but the spectrum right now. The spectrum is affected by the filter. Move it from there. Here, I'll hold. Now, interestingly, even though these things seem to be color-coded to go with the flutes, okay? And these are with the preset cancel there. And the spectrum, let's cancel and listen to the flute now. Of course, the flute, no effect on the filter. However, if you set it to percussion, there is some effect there. Interesting. And the slide affects everything. Of course, all three can be portamentoed and or not. And let's see, expression control must be if you have a expression pedal hooked up, because it just kind of goes down there. And then you got a reverb gain. Hear much reverb. I don't know. Yep, the can is working. Yeah, I hear a little bit. I don't know. Maybe an issue there. But those only seem, now those, even though they're silver, I only hear them affecting the spectrum. Definitely affect the spectrum. The output and the input. Anyway, some quirky interesting sounds available. Reiterate. Now, normal these affect it, otherwise only the sustain affects it. So everything's kind of interlapping there. Anyway, so I had all the flutes on there. It's got 16, 8, 4, 2 and 2/3, 1 1/3 footages, and let's listen to the presets real quick here. Saxophone. Interesting. And the cello. Brassy, but and you can mix them. Anyway, some interesting sounds available on the Syntha-sound, for sure, once you get used to its quirky interface there. And standard vibrato, that is something. You would have thought that would have just dropped the overall rate, and then you could, you know, vary it, but oh well. And that's about it, I guess. It's got an external input, which I haven't messed with. Headset, if that's pushed down, it'll seem not to work. Mode trigger bar. Well, I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Oh, and you can kill the tremolo there. I don't know what that does. Have to have the right thing set up there, probably. Anyway, yeah. Well, with certain mode setups on the, of course, it didn't do it on the preset, only on the Spectrum, probably flute. But so like here, set it here. And you get a weird view of me. To trigger the envelope. Okay, well that's what that does. Alrighty, that's pretty much the wrap on that one. Well, the second Syntha-sound schooled me. This is the bottom side of a Syntha-sound by Baldwin. And there you have your filter. That's your VCF with those 748 chips. LM748 in this case, RC748. And this is a miscellaneous function board. This is your divider board for the flutes with the 74107 TTL chips doing the dividing flip-flop, flip-flop. Very good. Very, very good. And I'm so glad I finally figured out I had... You look at some of these traces and it looks like they're combined here. It gives you a handy guide with those little things on top, but they're not really. They're just, they didn't have ink narrow enough to make it so it didn't look like it was one. So that confused me. I was getting inverting envelopes. You want to do a mod. You could do all kinds of mods on this one. Short things together and you get inverted envelopes and stuff. Anyway, yeah, that is what the bottom side of the thing looks like. There's the top side again. Very bad interconnects. I had to wire over many of these, as you see. And so those are nice and rugged now, but just some of them just want to slip off. They were just loose and they just forget it. Just wire them over because you can pull it off anyway and work on it. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal when you can't see them and they're fouling up intermittently. But oh, the sweet reward. It kind of has a sound a lot like the filter in the Hammond, 100, 102, 100. But they can't move it. Anyway, it gives you kind of an idea what the filter sounds like.